Hey guys, welcome to our training series. This is going to be 3 short pieces. The first part is just about building rapport. I love rapport. I can spend hours on this topic. I think it's so critical in actually getting the deal and getting far more deals. So I did bring something to show you guys, a little show and tell. I couldn't fit it in the frame, so I'm just going to pop it up in here. It's here somewhere. I haven't done it yet, but hopefully you can see it. But it's just about like it's a cold reader basically, and a book that I'll throw in and I'll recommend is, well, I'll recommend anything on cold reading essentially because it's an art form and it's so helpful to just get yourself in the practice of trying to identify people quickly and understanding who you're talking to and how you can relate to them best. So we're going to quickly cover 3 different things. The first of which is going to be disarming folks, because when they call, anytime they call to talk to us, it's always a question of like, why are you calling me? Why are you writing me? Why are you knocking on my door? In order to have any kind of relationship and to get them to open up and share with us their motivation, we need to be able to, communicate with them well and have them be comfortable. So we first have to disarm them before we do anything. So then we're going to build some credibility, and then we're going to build some interest and create that so that we can get that appointment. So let's hop right into it. Let's look at some slides, and let's kind of walk through it.
All right, guys, so let's talk about building rapport. We're, first of all, like I always tell everybody, and I really try to practice this myself, win with the heart, and the head is going to follow. People make decisions based on emotion, really, and they look at the logic and they look at that, but really, if somebody doesn't like you and they don't trust you, I think it's from the Little Red Book of Sales, actually. It says somewhere in there in the beginning, and I always remembered it, but if they like you, if they trust you, and if they want what you have, maybe they'll buy from you. But if they don't like you and they don't trust you, you're just probably not going to go anywhere, no matter what the situation is. So before anything, before you take your first breath back into that telephone after it rings, the first couple minutes should be nothing but winning their heart. So let's talk about disarming, because in our situation, that's the first thing you're gonna need to do. I promise you. So if I can click through this, there we go. So this is an image that I just made that is a complete visual metaphor for what goes on anytime my phone rings. It's just an old guy with a shotgun saying, "What do you want?" And that's pretty much what it's like when people call, especially with the stuff that we do. We do a lot of off-the-radar stuff, so when you're doing that, a lot of these people have not been contacted before, or if they have, they've had brokers or whoever coming to their door, whatever. But they're gonna have, or maybe they don't, but in a lot of the time, they're gonna have preconceptions about what you want. Maybe they think you want to, oh, you're a low baller, you're gonna try and buy that place for nothing. And who knows what their past experience is. It's kind of like if you're sitting in traffic and somebody, gets mad at you and they're honking at you, you kind of just got to take it like, man, I don't know what's going on in their life, and you just don't know what their past experience is. And, when the phone rings and somebody hits me with that, they say, how'd you get this number? How'd you call me? First of all, I always just talk to folks like I'm talking to you now. I'm just myself. I don't answer like, "Hello, this is Chris Richter at 555, and can you please give me your information?" I don't. I just talk to people and say, "Hey, how's it going? Hi, Steve. What's going on?" They say, "Oh, you sent me this letter," and I say, "Oh, yeah. Well, I sent some letters out. I'm sorry if I caught you at a bad time. Is it an okay time to talk?" And they say, "Oh, well, I just want to know why you're writing me. I don't have a sign out, and I'm not going to sell it." And I mean, it's really just not that complicated, but just be cool. Just be yourself. When I talk to folks, if they're slow going, I'll probably talk slow to them. If they're real direct and very, fact-oriented, I'll do that. But really, if you're just yourself, and you guys have a script that we gave you. I use a script, but when I say that, it's essentially some information that I know I need to get. But before I even get into that information, I'll build some rapport. I'll get them disarmed so that they're not, on edge. And then I'll ask for permission to walk them through those questions. I'll say, I appreciate calling back if you got a sec, and I just tell them like what's really going on. I'll say, hey, I've got a piece of paper here in front of me that, I'm a forgetful guy, and I've got these questions that I always try and ask folks. Is it all right if I run through and ask you some questions about the property? And I think that just by being that candid, a lot of times if I'm talking to people and I happen to be driving, if I answer, and I'll say, hey, let me pull over, Phil. I don't want you to hear me crash the car while I'm trying to talk on the phone to you. That'd be horrible. And just kind of make light of what's going on, and really just let them know I'm a real person. I'll say, hey, I'm sitting here. Let me reach over and grab a pen. Whatever. I just let them know that I'm a real human, and that I'm not there to threaten them or anything. So. People always ask, how'd you get this number? And I just say, hey, I'm an investor here, and I buy data, and these people send me these phone numbers, and I tell them, what kind of places I'm looking for, and they send me these numbers. And I don't really go a whole lot further because if you just third party that off, it saves you a lot of time and concern. Something else that I do to disarm a lot of times, people say, oh, I'm not desperate. And I say, no, to be honest with you, that's why I'm talking to you, is because, you're one of the rare folks out there right now that has some equity, and, or I'll say you're one of the people that, you've got this great home, and, you made the list. So if you're on this list, then, I recognize that, and that's probably why you're getting it. Anything that I can to, essentially bolster their ego and make them feel good about themselves and make them feel comfortable with me, so that they don't feel like I'm a threat to them. Because once they feel like you're not a threat and they feel like they can share with you, you can really get the information that you need to find out if it's somebody that you actually want to work with, and it's something that there's an opportunity to help them out and to do a deal. So that's really it. But the first couple minutes of any conversation, and I encourage you again, we're covering this in like 5 minutes and 51 seconds at this point, but I'd encourage you to spend a great amount of time really thinking about that and having those conversations with yourself before you even get on the phone, to just make sure that people can be comfortable when they're talking to you, and that you're not Captain Serious all the time when you answer the phone, because that just scares most folks. So that's really it. Let's hop into the next.